Well, hello, hello. I have no music, no anything this today. I don't know what's going on with the thing, but welcome, welcome. I have no idea what is going on um, here, but welcome. I'm Anna. I am the host of Sweet Blessings, the Anna L. Brothers Show and Podcast, where we inspire, we encourage and we empower you to live a healthy lifestyle. I am Anna. I'm your host. I'm a retired school teacher. I'm an author, an educational consultant, a jury consultant, and a health consultant. And I'm also a certified cake instructor. So I bring to you a wealth of knowledge and experience through our conversation. Each episode, we delve into topics that enrich our lives from personal development to health and wellness, and of course, the art of jewelry. Now, this is done by providing workshops and guest speakers, and even just providing knowledge to our guests. We offer inspiring stories, expert insights, and practical um, advice. And I want you to know that every conversation is a treasure. So let us begin. I am hoping that we can have some commercials here. My intro did not come on today for some odd reason. So let's go down and let's see. It's unbelievable.
Here's why you need to tune in right now. With CTR Media Network, you can transform your knowledge into a fully produced TV show. Imagine your content streaming on platforms like Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, and Amazon Fire TV, reaching over 350 million households in 140 countries. We take care of everything, from managing your ready-to-go content to global distribution. And it's not just any content, it's edutainment, a perfect blend of education and entertainment that keeps viewers coming back for more. You'll join a vibrant community of thought leaders, podcasters, and educators, all sharing a passion for impactful content and global reach. Plus, with our app available on Google Play and the App Store, your show will be accessible to millions more, ready to shine on the global stage. Let's get you started. Schedule a 15-minute call with us today and turn your idea into a TV sensation. Reply to this video by saying, "I want to learn more." Don't wait, your audience is out there waiting.
Well, welcome back to Sweet Blessings, the Anna L. Brothers Show and Podcast, where we inspire, we encourage, and we empower people to live a blessed and fulfilling lifestyle. Tonight's guest is someone who works, is, moment, let me go back. Tonight's guest is someone whose work is making a powerful impact on families and children across our communities. Dr. Myava Clark is a passionate advocate, educator, and best-selling author with a background in respiratory therapy and higher education. Her life took a transformative, I can't talk tonight, y'all, turn while navigating the special education system of her son, Chris. That journey inspired her to co-found CASEN, Collaborative Advancement for Social Emotional Needs, an organization dedicated to empowering children ages 9 to 13, especially neurodivergent children, to stay safe online while developing healthy social emotional skills. Through this work, Dr. Clark also founded the Mothers of Exceptional Kids Parent Support Group, a community that helps parents and caregivers find emotional support, avoid burnout, and guide their children toward friendships where they are celebrated. She is an author of 7 books and a workbook, blending personal stories with professional insights to bring hope and practical guidance to families. Tonight, we're going to talk about advocacy, parenting exceptional children, online safety, social emotional development, and how communities can better support families. Please help me welcome Dr. Maya Ava Clark. Hello, and thanks for joining me this evening.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for having me, Anna. I'm honored to be here tonight.
All right, well, we're going to go ahead and get right started, okay? I kind of briefed you a little bit before we got started on kind of some of the questions that I was going to ask you tonight. So I kind of give you, uh, so you can kind of think about your answers before. So the first one is I want to thank you for joining us today. And can you tell our listeners a little bit about the journey and what led you into advocacy for children with social emotional needs?
Well, first, this is like such a timely conversation because today starts the beginning of Neurodivergent Awareness Month. And for those of you who aren't familiar with the term neurodivergent just refers to the way an individual's brain processes information, behaves, or learns differently than what is considered normal or neurotypical. And it includes things, it's an umbrella term that includes things like autism, ADHD, and dyslexia. So I wanted to say that to your audience in case they weren't familiar with what it is that we're going to be talking about and what I do.
Oh, that's fine. Educate them. That's what we're on here for, to educate, okay? And to learn because you know what? I don't care if we just reach one person, okay?
Mhm.
That's why my podcast is here. There are lots of people out here that don't know what to do. So you are
Yeah.
here to enlighten us,
So,
okay? My
yes.
next question for you.
Well, I didn't answer your first one.
Okay, what was it? Okay, go ahead.
Your first question was
What
what did
led
I
you?
learn from my journey and what led me to this? So, my son is my why.
Okay.
My son was diagnosed with learning disabilities, and he had social emotional needs. He was emotionally probably about 2 years behind his peers. So he struggled keeping up in a conversation. So one of the things that I learned from the journey is how to advocate for my son. And I'm an educator, and there were times I teach on a collegiate level, but there were times when I felt like at school they wanted to do the right thing for my son, but they didn't always know what that right thing was, not like we knew. And so they have an agenda because they have things they have to meet in school. And they came to meetings to tell us what was going to happen, what we needed to do, and everything. And I'll give you an example, and then I'll finish the question. When we used to come into a IEP meeting, IEP stands for Individualized Education Program or Plan. That they have these meetings for your children to help them get what they need to compete and be competitive with their peers in their learning. And they would come into these meetings and say everything my son didn't do right. So my husband would say, well, did he do anything right? And then they had to go back and because he wouldn't let them say what he did wrong until we understood that yes, he may have some deficits, but he does have some positives. So in that, we felt like they had an agenda. And it was our jobs to remind them who our son was. We were his advocates in that room to make sure that, yes, he needed help, he needed support, but he got the appropriate amount of support he needed. We didn't want him to have more and we didn't want him to have less, but that's where the advocacy began. It began with us, with our child.
Okay. So you have a background in which includes respiratory therapy and higher education. How does this experience shape the work you're doing today?
Okay. I have been a respiratory therapist for over 30 years, almost 35 years in the field. And I worked at a children's hospital for almost 26 years. So
What
I
is
have
a respiratory therapist?
a
Because
respiratory
they
therapist is
might not
a
know what it is.
okay, a respiratory therapist is a breathing specialist. And you may have heard of us during the pandemic when people had COVID and they ended up on ventilators. Respiratory therapists are the ones that help put the patient on a ventilator, manage the ventilator while they're intubated with the breathing tube, and then we wean them to get off, and then we may have to give them breathing treatments to take care of them when they're off. And if they're not on it, we take care of people like that have asthma or COPD or respiratory illnesses. So that's what a respiratory therapist does. And I've always served people since I've gotten out of college and gotten to the field of being a clinician. And in particular, I worked at the Children's Hospital for 26 years. So I cater to kids. And that experience helps me where I am now because I always took care of them and always loved them and their families. And I just do it in a different way now.
Well, I am a early childhood advocate as well. So I do a lot in that. Um, well, you talked a little, some of them. Okay, what advice would you give to parents who are just beginning to navigate the special education system for their children?
Become educated on the system. Know your rights. Know what you can have for yourself as an advocate. For example, when my husband and I first started navigating the space, we didn't know anything. We we didn't have anyone to turn to. We had to figure it out on our own. We had to ask questions. And I will say to the parents out there, you don't have to do it on your own anymore. I'm here to support you. And one of the things I did was I wrote a book titled Help Support for Parents of Children with Learning and Thinking Differences to Feel Confident, Capable, and Fulfilled. This book is based on the first 25 years of my son's life. I go through each chapter, I go through a personal story or journey that we navigated. And as an educator, I did a literature review. There are over 100 references in this book. I defined the terms in the book. They and created a glossary at the end with all the terms I defined throughout the book. They can go to my website, casenllc.com, and go to the library resources and print out the glossary. They can take that with them to meetings. And when they don't understand something, they can read it and feel supported right there. And again, they don't have to do it alone. I have resources and I'm available to the parents.
Okay. I'm putting this is I believe this is the support group that
No, okay.
yeah, that Dr. Clark was talking about. This is where you can get the book, if I'm not mistaken. Am I?
No, they can go there. Yes, they can get it from through there. Mhm,
Help me out
mhm.
here. Okay, maybe it's
No,
this.
no. If you go back to mothersofexceptionalkids.com, They can actually get a free ebook, which is the 5 secrets to emotionally support your child with learning differences without burning out. And from there, if they want any of my other books, it will lead them to that. And they can even choose this one is the Parent and Caregiver's Guide, Overcoming Disabilities, Medical Challenges, Mental Health Disorders, and Trauma. This book, I actually have 12 co authors with me, telling their stories of overcoming. And it's another great resource and tool for parents and caregivers navigating this space. And we have a ton of resources in there, for them to feel supported and get the help and guidance that they need.
Okay. Okay. Well, we're going to take a brief commercial and then we're going to come back and I'm going to ask you some questions about CASEN. Okay. Okay. We are back and we have a special guest this evening, Dr. Maya Ava. My Ava Clark. Are you all? I struggle. I struggle sometimes. So as we were going to commercial, um, this lady has done quite a few things, you all. She's also a co-founder of CASEN. So I am going to ask her to explain what that is and the problem it was created to solve. Okay.
So CASEN stands for Collaborative Advancement for Social and Emotional Needs. And it was actually, my son's idea. When he was in his freshman year in college, my husband asked him, "What do you wish that you had in school that you didn't have that could help kids today?" And after thinking about it, he said, "I wish someone would have taught me how to be safe online." My son is now 28, and he asked me to help him develop app and a social media site that would be a precursor to regular social media that would keep kids safe. He had a village. He had my husband and his friends that helped him become appropriate on social media. And he wanted to create that safe space for children who may not have had the village that he had. So Casen is a whole platform. We have CASEN outreach where we go into the community and we teach how to keep kids safe online. We actually have a talk we do for parents and caregivers, as well as one for the kids themselves. We have CASEN Connect, which is a 5-week course, that they do online, and we teach them what bullying is, how to identify if they're being bullied, if they're witnessing bullying, or if they are, in fact, the bully. We teach them also how to report it. And then we go into how to do and access social media appropriately. We teach them about their digital footprint, that what they do online is there forever and it leaves a footprint, just like for a footprint in the sand when you walk in the sand. And then, so we just want to encourage them so they become confident and less likely to be a victim of prey, because we teach them also how not to befriend people they don't know in real life. It's all about being proactive instead of reactive. And everything we teach the kids, we have available for the parents so they can continue the conversation, because no matter what we do or anyone else does, we're not going to replace the parent. So the parent is still the loudest voice. We just give them the tools to know what's out there so they can have even better conversations with their children.
Okay. I noticed that this program is for ages 9 through 13, and it's a stay safe online program that helps with um, developing social emotional skills. I want to know, I'm going to ask you two or three questions at the same time. I want to know, why is this age group so important? And what are some of the biggest online challenges
Oh,
um, um, facing these children today?
okay. First of all, I want to say that yes, our platform was 9 to 13, but as parents were trying it out, they said, Dr. Clark, you really need to reach younger kids. They're on there even younger now.
Mm-hmm.
And so I do have everything that I have for 9 and 13 for 6 to 8. So we go as young as 6. And it's this, they're learning the same skills, but on a different level. Where the videos for the 9 and 13 may be live people talking, the 6 to 8, the videos are animated. So they're getting the same skills just on a different level. Why is this so important? Because unfortunately, people are targeting our children and preying on our children and causing harm to our children. We used to have to just worry about them, things happening in person, and being bullied in real life. It is so much worse behind the screen. People are, some people are cowards. Other kids will bully and feel empowered behind a screen that they wouldn't say in somebody's face. But here's the bigger issue for me. There is an adult group out there called 764. You can Google it, look up YouTube when we get off this call. It's a group of adults targeting our children, and they were on Good Morning America, highlighted them last fall and called them the modern day terrorists for our children. Unfortunately, they are getting our kids through gaming systems. One of them that was mentioned was Roblox. They are acting like they're children. They are grooming our babies for weeks to months to get them to trust them. And there's one little boy, his parents was on Good Morning America, and they were so heartbroken. He was 13 years old. He had mental health issues, and they befriended these people on Roblox, and they tricked him and convinced him to kill himself. He committed suicide. He was only 13 years old. And the parents were saying what made it worse, they said it was bad enough that he took his own life, but what made it worse was these adults watched him and they filmed it. And that's why CASEN is necessary, because if we can build the children up before they even get there, warn them, give them the skills, give them the tools to know what to watch out for and how to report it, then I believe we can save more of our babies.
Okay, it's possibility there. I will agree. You also founded Mothers of Exceptional Kids, MOEK.
Yes.
What inspired you to create a support group, especially for parents and caregivers?
Well, as a I have two children basically with unique needs. My son had learning disabilities. My daughter had medical challenges. She's has chronic illness. And when you are a mother and even a father, but I'm speaking from right now from a position of a mother.
Mm-hmm.
When you are a mother with children, you can be spread thin regardless, right? But when you put two children with unique needs on top of that, I became a machine. I just do for everybody. And I forgot to do for myself. And I was on the back burner. I was near burnout. I was near just, I was just on fumes. And I had to learn self care to protect myself, self care to show up. And what I learned in that is self care isn't selfish, it's necessary. And the more you take care of yourself, the better you are for yourself, the better version you are of yourself, and the better version everyone else gets. So self care is not selfish, it's necessary, and everyone wins. So when I came up with this group, it's because I don't ever want another parent. It's called Mothers of Exceptional Kids, but it's for males and females, parents and caregivers. I don't want another person to have to navigate life or this journey by themselves. I don't want them to try to figure it out and not have someone to reach back and pull them up. So we meet every first Tuesday of the month at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time via Zoom. I do it virtually so people can come in all over the world and join. They don't have to do this by themselves. They can come in a community where they're not judged, where they're supported and championed. So that's why I supported it. I created this group.
Okay. I believe in support groups. You hit quite a few notes that I really, or topics or things that I'm very, very passionate about. And one of those is self care, and I'm glad you kind of explained that and we're over that because as a parent, okay, I explain this to all of my constituents and people who follow me. When, as a mother, you lose yourself, okay, and we forget about it because we put everybody ahead of us, our husband, our children, everything. But and then we become burnt out, and then we wonder what's going on. And so I try to remind everyone that self care. You're right; it is not selfish. If you don't take care of you, you cannot take care of anyone else. Okay. You have got to be your own champion. Okay. So that when you said that, it really clicked home with me. And another thing is, remember, I told you that I started this podcast because my mother had dementia. And I was 50 years old. I'm not going to tell you how old I am now. But it was some years ago. But my mother had dem- dementia. And at 50, I didn't know what that was. Um, and when I did find out about it or what it was, she was in the stages where people would take advantage of her.
Mm-hmm.
I could see the signs, but I didn't know the signs because I didn't know about the disease.
Mm-hmm.
And so that made me realize that if I didn't know, other people didn't
Mm-hmm.
know either.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is the purpose of this podcast. I feature people where they can learn something, okay? Because, and you never get too old to learn. I'm telling you, I was over 50 when I learned this out. I learned so much. about dementia because dementia really is uh, the umbrella. Alzheimer, Parkinson, all of those things fall up under that. Okay, but
Mhm.
I didn't know that. you
Mhm.
know, I learned all of this because of a support group. So that's the other thing that I wanted to, because support groups are great. It's a way of networking and it's a way of learning. And it was because of that support group that I was able to understand uh, dementia and the journey that my mother was going through. So I thought that I needed to enlighten people. And so that is my purpose here. That is what God led me to do. And I was fortunate to know Dr. Rams. I'm just gonna lay it on the lay it on the line for you. So I'm all about advocacy. I'm all about early childhood uh, education and because you talked about burnout, and that's one of the things I hate to say it that most parents will have, not only parents but teachers.
Yeah.
Okay, teachers. And so I'm doing this series on because I'm collaborating with some other authors as well. And I'm doing
Mhm.
this series on educators and trying to save our educators because sometimes people don't uh, give them that pat on the back that they need. Okay. And there is no networking going on there. You're in the classroom, just it is what there's a lot of things that I could talk about on the educational system, but we're gonna leave that alone. We're gonna get back to you because you are the topic of this evening. So this is what I want to ask you next. What kind of transformations have you seen in families who participate in is it MOC?
Moet.
MOEC?
I've seen confidence.
Okay.
I've seen I think the biggest thing or the first thing I notice is they feel seen,
Okay.
they feel heard, and they feel understood, and they don't have to apologize. They don't have to apologize for their children and they don't have to apologize for themselves. It is not their fault. It is not something they did, and they don't have to carry that shame. So that's the first part and transformation that I see is feeling accepted. And I have every month is I have different people come in and out, but I have some people that will not miss because it's their lifeline, it's their connection. And it brings them peace of mind.
Hmm.
And on top of that, they get tools, they get resources. Like one parent was at a crossroad and didn't know what to do with her child. He was in a private school, but he needed support beyond what they could give. But she didn't want him to go to public school because of the morals and the things that they were teaching. So she was really conflicted. And um, one one of the parents that was in that group gave her some alternatives and suggestions that was beautiful, and she followed up with it. The next month she came back and reported and on what she did based on the suggestions. And I gave suggestions, she took that and she took a lot away and came back and reported on what she did and how she acted on the information. And had she not been there, those would have been tools that she hadn't got received, and who knows where she would be with her frustration level by this point.
Okay, Dr. Clark, at the beginning, I kind of asked you to tell us a little bit about yourself. And I know you talked about your advocacy and everything, but people don't really know where you're from or anything. And we've been on here a little bit. So they might want to know that as well.
So I was born and raised in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, in the Cows Creek section of West Philadelphia. I say that proudly because that's the inner city, and that's where I was molded. I'm the youngest of five children, and I am the only female. I'm the only girl.
Oh my God, you're spoiled right
So yeah, well, I will say this to you. When you're the only girl out of five, you have one of two choices. You can either be the tomboy or the princess.
now.
And I was the tomboy.
Oh, I can't believe it.
I was the tomboy. And what you see now is years of being polished, but I wasn't. And yeah. So I'll just leave it like that. I'm I'm from the inner city and I'm the only girl out of five. And I'm the baby. And I
Oh
wasn't,
no, and you talking about you that small.
yeah. So
No, it's
but no, yeah. And I currently still live in Pennsylvania in a suburb outside of Philadelphia, but I'm very close. My parents are still in Philly.
okay. Well, it's okay. You can be
Hmm.
okay. I am the only girl. There's eight in my well, not eight in my family, but my father there was eight of them, and
Hmm.
out of that, only two of them, the siblings had children. My aunt, she had two
Okay.
boys, and my father had me. My mother
Oh
and
wow.
me, and the two boys, the oldest one, there's a 10-year difference.
Wow.
So I'm the baby,
Wow.
and I'm the
Out
only.
of eight children, only three grandchildren?
Uh-huh. And I'm
Wow.
the only girl, and I'm the
Wow.
baby.
Mhm.
That's all I got to say. Okay. That's all I'm gonna say about it. Okay, because I know they really took care of me. Because
Yeah.
I was the baby, and they were almost the boys couldn't stand me really because
Oh.
they would say, "Take that baby with you." They didn't want that. I just want to say. But anyway, we go. I'm really enjoying this, as you can see.
Oh.
But I want to talk about because you are a successful author. You've written 7 books and you have a workbook. What message do you hope the readers take away from your writings?
Okay. So, and I'm actually working on books 8 and 9 right now. They're coming out. Um, I wasn't looking to be an author. I did all of this since 2023, and like as I said, within the coming months, the other two will be out. What I've learned is it's my story for God's glory, and I will say to you that there was a time. I'm a person of faith, and I had faith throughout my journey, and that's what sustained me. There was one day I remember I had had it. I was angry and I said, God, I'm angry. I feel cheated out of life and I feel like my children were cheated. I was just so, I said, I'm angry. And I came back the next day in prayer and I said, God, forgive me. I said, I wasn't cheated, I was chosen.
Mhm,
And I said, what is it in me that you see that you chose to give me two children with special needs, one with learning disabilities and one with medical challenges? Why did you think I can handle that? Why did you think my shoulders were big enough for that? And from that, first of all, he didn't kill me because I'm sitting here talking to you. He really was waiting for me to get to the end of myself to get to him so he could show up and be God all the way in my life. So I say that to tell people be honest.
Mm-hmm.
God's not going to be upset with you for being honest with where you are, because really he couldn't bless me completely until I acknowledged
Mm-hmm.
that I was at my wits end and let him and step back so he could step up.
That's right.
Okay. So that's the first thing. And I realized I was called to neurodivergent children and their families, but I wouldn't have the relationship with them and the understanding if I hadn't walked that path myself. Therefore, everything that I have gone through in life, I went through because Jesus could trust me to tell the story. So every one of my books is uplifting with hope and resiliency, because it's about overcoming whatever the topic is. And I believe that that's what it's about. And this one, levels of faith for one season may be different than faith for another season, is my whole journey through faith, the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows of it. Because to be honest with you, even though you have faith, when you have a new trial or new circumstance, what you did to get over something before may not be enough to get you what you're dealing with now. And then you have to go back to the king and pray and find out what you need to make it over that one.
I was going to ask you. My next question was there one book or story that is especially meaningful to you? And then you always seem to be one step ahead of me. You brought out you brought out the faith book, which I'm sure I'm not
Okay.
going to say that that's the one, but I know.
Well, that was the most, that one's, I won't say the one, but that's the most unique in that I went through something where I had lost faith for something. And I told God, I don't trust you anymore for this. And I said, I'm losing belief. And then the next day I repented and I said, teach me how to trust you again, and build my belief up again for this, because he promised me something and it didn't happen, and I was just upset about it. So fast forward, you got to read the book if you want to know the details, but fast forward, there was a time when something else happened, I thought he was going to do it. He didn't do it. I said, God, I know you're up to something, but I don't know what it is, and I'll wait. And it was over the same circumstance, two different perspectives over the same situation. That next day in prayer, he woke me up out of my sleep, and in prayer, he said, you passed your test. And he said, do you trust me enough to write a book about something that hasn't happened yet? Do you believe me enough to write about something you're still waiting for? And I said, yes. And that's when he said, I want you to write a book and I want you to title it Levels of Faith. Faith for one season may be different than faith for another season. And he said, I want you to start with the last chapter first. And my last chapter is called Lazarus' Faith. It's about faith that was dead and was resurrected.
Mhm.
And then he gave me the other 9 chapters and gave me my testimony of my life to go with each chapter. So,
All right, we're going to take one more commercial. And then when I come back, I'm going to ask you to give us some practical takeaways for our listeners. Okay?
okay.
This is my favorite commercial.
Oh my goodness, the mailman came. I hope my sweet little thing cookie's in here. I just hope it's in here. Let me see. Let me open this up. That's it. That's it. Sweet little thing cookies. That sweet little thing cookies. Oh, I'ma have me a ball now. Let me just get this right here. Little thing cookie. That sweet little thing cookie. Oh yeah. I finally got my cookies. This sweet little thing cookies. Oh, yeah. I'ma have fun. This packet kind of big though. Man, I got a lot of cookies. Oh yeah, this the best day ever. I'm trying to tell you, I got my cookies, and I'm gonna eat these cookies, and ain't nobody gonna stop me. Wait, what?
Marie, what you doing, man? You can't have those cookies right now. I'm sorry, we about to eat dinner. Once we finish dinner, then you can have those cookies. Go ahead, put them up. Go ahead, put them up.
Are you serious, bruh? I got sweet Listerine cookies, and now I gotta wait for dinner? Fine, can I at least look at the cookies? Thank you. Oh my goodness, I have waited all this time now. I gotta do all this. Fine. Oh yeah. I got my hands on some sweet Listerine cookies. But I can't eat them right now because bruh talking about I gotta wait to dinner. Okay, I'ma do that. But once I finish that, it's gonna be on y'all. Wait.
I can't hear you.
All right. You can hear me now. I
Yes.
don't know what happened. This has been acting crazy this evening, but hopefully it hasn't acted crazy during our interview. So that's the most important thing. I just go with the flow, okay? But let me see, what was I getting ready to ask you? Uh what signs should parents and educators watch for when children are struggling social socially or emotionally?
Withdrawal.
Okay.
Um, if one of the things I would say is when you watch your child and you know your child and you know how they usually act, if there are b- big drastic change in their behavior, that's a sign.
Okay.
If they shut down when they are around certain people or certain situations, why? Ask probing questions. Why? A lot of times behavior is a sign or a something you want to get to the cause, you want to get to the root of it, and sometimes children will lash out, and it's easy to dismiss them as it being behavioral, but why is that behavior beginning? Inquire, ask questions, and allow them the freedom to be able to talk to you. To It's so important if you want your children to talk to you when they become teenagers, you must allow them to talk to you when they're little, because you need to cultivate that safe space. And that's something my children has always had the ability to tell me anything. And I promised them I would listen. Now I might be curling my toes up in my shoes. I might be I might be sitting on my hands listening, but I didn't want to respond negatively because I didn't want them to clam up or to say, "Oh no, I can't talk to her." And then I will have a conversation. I'd much rather them come to me than to their friends. So that's what I would tell you to start with that. Ask questions and allow them to answer. Children want to be heard.
Amen. They do. They like to be seen. I will
And I was
agree.
going to say sing and heard. They want that time. And I'll tell you something that I used to do and I didn't do right all the time. is sometimes being busy, you multitask. And I'll never forget the time my daughter said, Mommy, listen with your eyes.
they're, we can learn from them.
She said, listen with your eyes. That means look at me when you talk to me.
That's right.
Don't do the dishes. I need you and I need you present. That's
Yeah,
what that meant.
that's what it did. Yes, it did. Yes, and you stopped and listened, didn't
And
you?
I stopped and I listened too.
Yeah, I know you did. If you could give our listeners one encouraging message tonight, especially the parents of exceptional children, what would it be?
One thing I would say is you don't have to do it alone.
Okay. All right.
I'm here. My son is here. We work together as a team to support parents. My son has a unique perspective because it was him. And sometimes he can go back to where he was as a child and give you his perspective and feelings based on his experience. And a lot of times that gives parents totally different perspective than I can. And they can tap into their thoughts differently with reaching their own child. So they get two for one. We really are a unique team because I come from the parent perspective of navigating and living life through him through because we are anti-bullying platform because of his challenges and his dealing with bullying and cyberbullying. That's why we're here. We didn't even go through that tonight, but we are anti-bullying platform.
Well, that means
Eh,
you have to come back
Okay.
and
Um.
talk about that topic, okay?
Mhm.
I just want to how can the audience connect with you and learn more about Kason and your work?
Well, our website is casenllc.com. And the one thing I encourage everyone to do is to please, when you go on Casen, download our newsletter so you can see what's going on, what we're doing, what we have coming up, and everything. You can do that, and you can fill out a form to connect with me on there, and we go from there. We have several different programs. I have group coaching where people that need more support, I walk through with them, and the journey is transformative.
Would this be this is just hypothetically when my mind, my mind is always working. Would you be receptive to presenting or offering this program to schools or
Absolutely. I'm in the process of that now because we have a 5-week course to teach kids how to be safe online. Like I said, it's anti-bullying, but that is meant for schools and teachers to teach in their classroom. The is, and you'll have to bring me back so we can go into the details of that. But it's for social workers, counselors, physical therapists, occupational, anybody that does deals with groups of children. They can use this bullying platform to teach them in their lesson with their lessons.
okay, I what I'm going to do, I have a sorority sister who has an after school program called Butterflies,
Okay,
and it's through this age group. And I would like to maybe hook you all up and let you
sounds good.
speak because, but she, like I said, she's in the city. I'm not in the city. I am in a suburb just like you, of Chicago.
Hmm.
But she's been on here before, and she's doing wonderful things with them. But that I will, speak to her and then kind of see if you all can kind of hook up because she does a lot and she's always looking for uh,
Okay,
people
absolutely.
out. So I'm
Can
going.
I can I say one thing before we get off?
Go ahead.
I just want to say if Dr. Tina Ramsey is watching, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for connecting us together. And When I met you down in South Carolina, you were wonderful, and I just thank you for being allowing me and trusting me with your community.
Oh no, baby. My community is about helping, enriching people, empowering them so they live a fulfilling and blessed lifestyle. That's what it's all about. And the only way that we're going to be able to do that is that we got to get out here and spread joy and shine our light, okay? And let other people know. We don't get out here and let other people know, they will never know, okay? So with that being said, I'm going to ask you, I'm going to put you backstage because I have to close out. But I wanted to say this to my audience this evening. I hope that in some kind of way we have inspired you. And I hope that some kind of way we have encouraged you. And I most definitely hope that we have empowered you to live that fulfilling and blessed lifestyle. I did not tell you that you can reach me. I always forget this. I forget my information. But I do want to let you know that I am on Facebook, you all. And if my Facebook supporters can support me by giving stars, I do have a website, and this is my website, Anna's Lifestyles, LLC.com. And you know that I'm always looking for people to be on my show. So if you're interested in advertising or sponsoring or even commercials and guest slots, you can reach me at Anna's Lifestyles LLC.com or CTI Media Network dot slash sweet blessings. I always ask you to please subscribe to all of my social media platforms, um, YouTube, and all of those. And then this is my email in case you want to reach out to me and have any questions or anything like that. I want to also thank Dr. Myava Clark for coming on this evening. We have really and truly enjoyed. I have enjoyed it if no one else. You saw all the comments that we got that I put up, and I'm going to thank you. And I'm going to have her back because she has quite few things to tell us about. She has a bullying program that I think that we need to listen to. And bullying, you all, is not just for kids. Adults bully too. We have one in office at this present time. I'm just going to say that, and we're going to go head on. And I'm going to talk to y'all later. I have some things that I want to do before I go, so I'll be. All right, here we go. I do want to let you all know that I do have a book coming out. Uh, Let me put this up here. I'm taking pre-orders now. Um, for my book, and it's Finding Joy and Early Care Educator. And basically, it is about my journey. I'm collaborating with others, but it is about my journey as an educator. I've been an educator for over, Lord, 40 years. And this is my journey. Most people don't realize that some of the things that I do in the field. I'm still an educational consultant for the state, and I do things like that in the field of early childhood education. So I wanted to also let you know that you could pre-order this book. Let me also put up here where you can pre-order it, you all. Hold on just one moment. If you're interested in pre-ordering, it is at childcarejourney.com slash Anna. So I'm going to bid you all adieu this evening. And I enjoyed you immensely. And just remember to tune in next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, for another great evening of conversation.